Welcome to Meet the CIO, a new career-oriented interview series presented by the IT Executives Council. My name is Lindsay Brown, Executive Director of the IT Executives Council, and today I'm very excited to present our latest Meet the CIO interview. In this series, we interview top IT executives from some of the most interesting companies and organizations in the world. These interviews provide our members and subscribers with invaluable firsthand insights as they focus on career tips, advice, and ultimately secrets to success. With that, there is no better time to introduce our esteemed panelist, Antonio Marin. Antonio currently serves as the Chief Information Officer of USMED-Equip. His career spans over more than 25 years in IT with experience in strategic planning, business alignment, mergers and acquisitions, operations excellence, software development, project management, and more. Prior to joining USMED-Equip, Antonio has held several C-level leadership roles in various industries, including waste, oil and gas, energy, logistics, commercial software, retail, and engineering, procurement, construction companies. Under his leadership, his IT departments have been recognized by technology think tanks, industry experts, and colleagues for their contributions to the company's technology advancements and business outcomes. Antonio, welcome, and thanks for joining us today. I'll let you share a little bit about your current role and background before we get to the Q&A today.
Thank you for having me. USMED-Equip is a nationwide organization that provides movable medical equipment and beds and therapeutic services to hospitals across the nation. We are a workforce of 714 employees dedicated to serve our healthcare heroes in providing smart solutions that will help in the healing process of their patients. We are we call Houston our home, and we are very excited to be here and spending this time with you.
Great, well, thanks for sharing that background with our viewers. I'm excited to learn more about your role in your company. So let's get right to our Q&A session, and we'll start from the very beginning. What inspired you to pursue a career in information technology?
The most exciting thing to me when information technology was actually, would say, brand new, when I was a college student, and this is long time ago, I was really curious about the possibilities of using the computer power to use software to provide solutions and to solve problems that would require a lot of human interaction. What inspired me to pursue a career in information technology was my curiosity about what information and technology can do together to provide better solutions that will help us be a better society.
Absolutely, I love that. All right, now with your background, what would you say are the roles and responsibilities of CIO, and how has that changed over time in your career?
Well, let me start with how it has changed over time, and sometimes how it hasn't changed over time. When you join an organization, depending on the size of the organization, the vision for what the role of the CIO may vary. When you're small organizations, what they call the CIO is probably the highest level they have in IT, which may be an IT manager, more focused on the infrastructure and keep the lights on. And when you start going into organizations that have a bigger footprint, they realize that technology is just another business area like accounting, just like human resources, like operations. So when you join this kind of companies that have a bigger vision of the role of the Chief Information Officer, you are in a position where you can affect change across the landscape of that organization. One of the things that I'm more passionate in my role is that I get to participate in reshaping business processes across the whole gamut of areas that we have in the organization. One day we can start talking operations. The next day we can be in HR, accounting. We touch billing. We touch human resources. And when you see in IT, the role is that we get to expand across the organization.
All right, yeah, thanks for sharing that. Now, many of our CIOs are also echoing that, how it's really changed from more of a technology-based role, like you said, in a smaller organization, to really being a change agent and having a seat at the table. So that's interesting.
It is very exciting, and we're in exciting times. Something that I've been saying for quite some time is that companies that don't recognize technology as the tool to be competitive in the market and trying to say it's a brick and mortar organization are companies that we may not see in a few years.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Now with that, what do you think is the most interesting technology project you've worked on?
As you mentioned early in the introduction, I've been in IT for a long, long time. So it is like if you're asking somebody, what is your favorite child? So I had different projects that I think were very important at different stages of my life. The first project was in one of my first companies where I had the opportunity to write software to deploy software packages across a network, across a wide area network. At the time, this is in the early 90s, there was no software that could do this automatically. So creating the software was a very important milestone for my company and at the time for my career. The second favorite child that I have is we were in South America in a very conflicted region of the continent, and we were in retail energy. So we had to deliver invoices to the customers so they can pay for the electricity. And the process was very complex in terms that we had to send people all the time into guerrilla-driven regions. And as you can imagine, it was not very safe. And obviously, people will have trouble paying for their bills, which caused a myriad of issues in the electric industry, in our electric industry. So I was able to combine efforts with a company in Seattle, and we were able to do the first pre-billing invoicing. So by the time that the meter reader will go to read the meter at the house, they will have almost all the information they needed. So when they read the meter, we were actually able to print that invoice right there. Wow. That was the major technology advancements at the time. Today, obviously, we have all these electric meters, and that's not uncommon today. But in those days, that was a major breakthrough. And in the most recent technology that it was when I was in the trash company, and we started using data visualization to combine many sources of data in real time to provide more services and get people excited, believe it or not, for us to pick up their garbage. It was a waste management company, so our role was to pick up garbage. How do we make it exciting? Is by providing customers with real-time information that they could action upon and make a decision on who they wanted to be their provider.
Oh, interesting. What was some of that real-time information?
It was really, we got some very fun stuff that we did, and at the same time, as one of my colleagues says, we were able to make trash sexy.
I certainly have not heard that before, but that's an awesome example. All right, well, I'm excited for the answer to this question, given your experience. What do you think have been the most significant keys to your success?
Well, as a person, as somebody who's been in IT, I will not claim success until I retire and I look back. On a personal note, on my professional standpoint in my role, the significant keys to my success is to see my team successful. When you grab a team of people and you spend some time with them and you develop them, when they become the next CIOs, the next directors of IT, I see that as a measure of success. That means that we're leaving a legacy on the human side that not only provide a great service to an organization, but they also provide a phenomenal service for a human being.
Absolutely. I think that human side is critical and often overlooked.
It is.
All right.
This is the most important thing to me.
Absolutely. All right. Now, would you say there are any tools or solutions that help you be more effective in your role?
There are several tools, and let me divide tools and solutions in two different buckets. I think from the tools perspective, I think empathy, negotiation skills, networking, and servant leadership are tremendous tools to be really effective in the role as CIO. In terms of solutions, as I mentioned earlier in the conversation, you have to go with times. When we start talking about cloud, that was a great solution at the time. That continues being a fantastic solution for many things, and cloud has been a major component on the great success that we have as companies. But as time, ETL and data virtualization, especially when you live in a world of mergers and acquisitions, it becomes a fantastic solution. And nowadays, what we're looking into today, and that we're looking into implementing a USMED-Equip, is balancing artificial intelligence to make better decisions. As I mentioned earlier, our role is to help the hospitals get the right equipment to the right patient at the right time. And having artificial intelligence to help us streamline the process, serve the hospitals and their patients better is absolutely critical when you have somebody waiting for that piece of equipment.
Yeah, that's great. And I like those personal tools you mentioned, as well as AI. I mean, we hear that time and time again, as you'd imagine, a lot more often. So definitely something to think about. All right, and last up, what advice would you give to others that seek a career as a CIO?
I think that the advice I would give them is, first of all, let the CIO career come to you through your achievements. I don't think I met any person of my colleagues, including myself, that say, I'm going to start a career as CIO. We start a career, how could we be a better manager? How could we be a better leader? How can I understand the business? And how can I bring my IT skills to make sense for the business? And that's when you become a business partner. That's when your leadership bring you up. And that's when people will give you a seat at the table. A lot of times we talk about that position, that CIOs don't get a seat at the table. I think the CIOs need to earn the seat at the table. So more than anything else, I'll ask people, be honest with yourselves. Your friends are the ones who are going to lift you to the next level. And when I say friends, are your team members, your managers, and your colleagues who are at your level, or your CIO who is at the higher level in organizational wise, and talk to them, build a relationship. Nobody learns from being an island. So if you want to look at career as CIO, start looking at career as where you are and how you can improve yourself to get to the next level.
Yeah, that is great advice for any aspiring CIO, so I really appreciate you for sharing that. All right, and with that, I want to say, Antonio, thank you so much for sharing these insights with our viewers. If you found today's session valuable, please be sure to visit our website to see a list of upcoming interviews. And if you are interested in participating, feel free to visit the URL on your screen, itexecutivescouncil.org/meetthecio. Well, thanks again for your time, and great success to you, Antonio, and all of our viewers in 2023 and beyond.
Thank you, Lindsay. Thanks for having me. Good luck.